It is college graduation season, and that means students everywhere are gathering to hear commencement speeches, speeches like the one that took place last week at the Catholic Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas. As its commencement speaker, the college chose Harrison Butker, the kicker for this year's Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Benedictine is known as a conservative Catholic institution, and Harrison Butker is known as a conservative Catholic NFL player. So nobody thought that his speech at that college was going to be particularly progressive. But I'm not sure anyone was prepared for this.
Things like abortion, IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, as well as a growing support for degenerate cultural values in media all stem from the pervasiveness of disorder, pushing dangerous gender ideologies onto the youth of America, the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it, the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. There is nothing natural about Catholic birth control.
A commencement speech that was really just a laundry list of modern evils, from abortion and birth control and IVF to so-called gender ideologies and Pride Month and DEI. Now, all of that would have been enough to make this one of the most controversial commencement speeches of this year, and certainly one of the most controversial speeches from a Super Bowl champ. But it was this section right here, directed specifically at the graduating young women in the audience, that really made this one unforgettable.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. All of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
The women in that audience have just spent 4 years, more than $100,000, and countless hours to earn a college degree. And Harrison Butker told them the most important title they will have is homemaker. The National Football League has already disavowed Butker's speech, saying the NFL is steadfast in our commitment to inclusion, which only makes our league stronger. So far, there has been no word from Butker's team, the Kansas City Chiefs, but there is one teammate in particular who may want to have a word with Mr. Butker.
As my teammate's girlfriend says, familiarity breeds contempt.
If you didn't know, that was a Taylor Swift reference. Taylor Swift is dating the Chiefs' tight end, Travis Kelce. And while I am sure Harrison Butker thought it was a neat thing to drop in a pop culture reference for his audience of 20-somethings, the truth is that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are literally a testament to the opposite of everything Harrison Butker was talking about. Taylor Swift spent the past week filling stadiums in Paris as she continues to take her historically successful Eras tour global. The 34-year-old singer is not married. She has no children and has made no indication that she wants to embrace being a homemaker, all of which appears to be pretty okay with Harrison Butker's teammate, Travis Kelce, who gets to enjoy a super fancy European vacation, including romantic boat rides through Italy alongside his multi-millionaire girlfriend. Doesn't seem like a bad gig. Someone tell Harrison Butker, quick. Butker verbalized a decades-long conservative project, one that has manifested into real-life policy. Already, there are 21 states with abortion bans, 31 states where anti-DEI measures have been either passed or been introduced, and 12 states with anti-LGBTQ laws. The anti-feminist Christian nationalist agenda is alive and well, and it is gaining ground. Joining me now is Leah Littman, law professor at the University of Michigan and one of the co-hosts of the Strict Scrutiny podcast. Leah, thank you for joining me. Just to put into perspective the things that Harrison Butker was talking about, I want to read this line from the inimitable Jessica Valenti. This is what she's writing about. Butker's remarks weren't fringe or radical. She says, they're the law. He was simply saying out loud what Republicans have already codified, that women's role in this country is to bear children and support men who are the actual stars of the show. What do you make of that?
I think it is a really terrifying statement that captures the current political moment we are living in. You know, the district judge in the case that ordered a nationwide ban on medication abortion is a judge who, before he became a judge, railed against no-fault divorce laws that actually allow people to get divorced. There are many states that now restrict divorces in cases where people are pregnant. You have Republican politicians on the Supreme Court debating whether states can prohibit abortions in cases where denying women an abortion would jeopardize their bodily organs and major bodily functions. You have Republican political operatives ginning up theories that would allow them to revive an 1873 Victorian-era law, the Comstock Act, that would prohibit abortion nationwide. These theories are not fringe. They are being propounded by Republican politicians at the state, local, and federal level. And these are the stakes in the upcoming election and likely all future ones, as long as the Republican Party leans into the movement for Christian nationalism and the misogyny that underlies it.
You know, you mentioned no-fault divorce, and I think that's a topic we haven't really spent that much time on, but is worth talking about. This is Speaker of the House Mike Johnson in 2016 addressing why it's become a hobby horse of the right. Let's take a listen.
You remember in the late 60s, we invented things like no-fault divorce laws. We invented the sexual revolution. We invented radical feminism. We invented legalized abortion in 1973. I mean, we know that we're living in a completely amoral society.
I mean, arguably, we didn't invent those things. That was the natural progress of a society that's becoming more inclusive and equitable. But I wonder, Leah, if you can talk a little bit about what it is about no-fault divorce that so irks conservatives.
I mean, no-fault divorce laws allow some recognition that women get to be people too, and that they can choose, right, to dissolve a marriage that they entered into, rather than have to convince the state, some politician, some elected official, maybe a state or local judge, that they deserve to be let go of their marriage. You know, states are attempting to force women into domestic arrangements and force them to undergo childbirth because they view that as the natural order of things. The things that Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson was decrying, things like radical feminism or the legal right to an abortion, those boil down to the notion that women are full and equal citizens with rights over their lives and futures. And that is what the Republican Party is starting to come after.
I wonder how important you think it is to have an NFL star give a high-profile commencement speech that articulates all of those values at a time when the movement is so clearly at odds with public sentiment on all of these issues. I mean, how much does it matter for a movement that is largely intent on doing things that have no public support in the name of, putting America in reverse?
I hope it matters to an extent that it convinces people to go out and vote. I think many people are starting to falsely equate the two political parties and resign themselves to staying at home because there's no difference between the two parties. That could not be further from the truth. And that commencement address, combined with all of the other things that are in the works, whether it's reviving the Comstock Act as a federal ban on abortion or attempting to revoke nationwide access to medication abortion, or many of the other things like dismantling no-fault divorce laws, these are all real choices that the American public faces in this upcoming election.
Leah Littman, it's always great to hear from you. Thanks for your time this Friday night.
Thank you.
yeah.